us going here. See so far 4 attendees here on the Zoom side, it looks like. And let's see here. YouTube looks like it's streaming, but I can't access my account for some reason. So, all right, we're gonna do this. I recognize everybody's name in here, I believe, for the Zoom side, the few of you that have showed up. Again, it says there's going to be a lot more of you than there actually is. So we're just going to go open Q&A right now. If you folks don't have any questions, I'll obviously do my best to, keep it informative and get you going in the direction that you need to with the software. So with that said, if anybody has any questions here, go ahead and fire those away for me. If not, I could dive into some stuff with maybe we'll build a scan together, something to that effect. And I'm just using this starter layout that I had created, put it in the user's guide. Well, Stephanie put it in the user's guide. So if anybody's wondering what I'm looking at here, just a simple set of alert windows that I've created, a few charts, in a few different time frames, and a single stock window with some information that I think, is helpful. So again, I'm going to kind of just go along here and start a scan building exercise, go over a few things that we could do with building a scan, maybe some definitions of some filters, things like that. And please feel free to interrupt me, anybody that would like to, take it another direction or any kind of questions you have on what I'm doing or something else. All right. Anything trade ideas is absolutely fair game. Most anything stock related, fair game too. So let's build an alert window first together. So you come to new and alert window. And for those that don't know, you can set up your alert windows, your top list, your charts, so that every time you open a new one, it'll open exactly the same as exactly the same all the time. So mine I have defaulted. So I just have, these columns that show up here, which are also these filters that are here. And the selected alert is crossed above resistance. And then I have it named new alert window. So anybody that ever wants to do that with an alert window, you can go through, look at the columns here and get rid of what you don't want. Come back to the search, add any filters that you do want to be a default filter or default column, anything like that. We've got to scroll down the filters, obviously. Add them as a filter or show the column, and you can go through and pick whatever you want as a default alert. And once you've done that, and this will apply to whether you do it with charts or top lists, the same thing. I've given it the name in the last thing I didn't show you. I gave it a name here in the summary, new alert window. And then if you right click and you go save as default, that's what will load up every single time you do a new alert window. And you can do the same exercise with a top list or chart or compare count windows, whatever you want to do it with. Not sure why it's saying you can see my screen now. I believe you should all have been able to see my screen. So anyways, we'll start with a new alert window here and we come to the configure. And let's see, what kind of alert window do we want to build? Let's expand this out a little bit so we can see here. And let's give a scroll down. Sorry, I'm having trouble with the YouTube page here that I'm broadcasting on as well right now. Will not let me load the page correctly. So if people are chatting over there on YouTube, I'm having trouble seeing it. All right, well, we're going to press forward for now. Let's take a look. So, if we were looking at something that's more of a day trading window, maybe we want to look at something like a 1-minute volume spike for alerts. And again, if you're not familiar with any of these things here, we can always either, highlight it and click help here, or we can right click on it and hit help. And it's going to give us this web page here. So we're wondering what the 1-minute volume spike alert says. This is what we're looking at here. This alert shows when a stock has an unusual amount of volume. It's similar to the high relative volume alert, but time frame is different. The alert only looks at 1-minute candles. Like the high relative volume alert, this compares the recent volume for an alert to historical baseline. And it doesn't say it in here, unfortunately, and we're going to be updating this at some point in the not too distant future here. But the historical baseline is 10 days for anything that doesn't tell you what the historical baseline is already. It's going to be 10 days. I know this says it can vary, but just go with 10 days on that. And you can set the minimum of amount of volume required here. And so since, I don't know why that did that. And since we're looking at a ratio, 1 would be normal, 2 would be 2 times normal, 3 would be 3 times normal. And that's going to come in if we go ahead and we were to be on this alert and we add the alert. We're going to see an alert filter. So it's not to be confused with the Windows specific filters. We have the alert filters here. And so by getting rid of the check there and putting a check here, we put a 1 there. We're saying we're looking to find stocks that are at least historical baseline of volume right now. If you want a definition for all those filters, there's a section. So as I've gone over this before, but just as a refresher, at the top of the page here, we see alert types. So that's what we're looking at, the alert types and the descriptions of them, obviously in the 1-minute volume spike here. There's also, if we click that below, it brings it to me right away, but there's this section here, the alert specific filters. So don't forget that this exists too. So when you're coming across and you're building scans and you're trying to figure out what these alerts mean in here, don't forget to be looking there. I think it's really important to understand what those filters are doing. And again, if we come down here, it's going to tell us right here, the alert server continuously monitors various properties for each stock and compares the values to historical background information. When the current value of one of these properties is unusually high, the alert is reported. For this group of alerts, the user can set minimum standards above those built into the alert server. Each time the server reports the alert, divide the current value of the property by the historical value of the property. User can then specify a minimum value for this ratio. So, that's really in a nutshell what I just went over, but I think it's just good review. Read these items here. We can see how many different alerts have specific alert filters attached to them. I think it's very important to understand these. Some of these, the filters will matter more than others. Just to give an example here, the crossed above resistance one, I particularly prefer the hours of trading, right? This one here, I prefer to leave that blank when I'm using that alert for building a scan. I want the algorithm to look back and decide where it found it. I don't want to look back a specific amount of time. That's just a personal endeavor of myself. Everybody might have some different thoughts in that. So that's the basis of that. That's the basis of what we're going to build the scan on, this 1-minute volume spike. Let's go with 2 in the relative in the ratio here. So we want to see stuff that's, doing at least 2 times what it's normally doing. And by doing that, we won't have to add a 1-minute volume filter in this, but, we can start with some basic filters here. Price, I think everybody wants to have a price range. We're going to add that filter. And for this, we're just going to go, let's see, $8 to $100, we'll call it. All right. And then, when we're building day trading alerts, I think, or any alert in general, I think a volume shares filter. So we type volume and we can see shares here. So this is, volume with shares today. I think that's an important filter. You want to get rid of stocks. You don't want to see stocks that are traded 10,000 shares or 30,000 shares, or even, if you're looking to trade power hour, you generally want to see stuff that's traded probably more than 100, 200,000 shares a day. Of course, everybody's going to be a little bit different. Some people don't mind trading less liquid stocks. Some people do. So this becomes one of those personal things. But in this here, we're going to throw in 175,000 minimum. And after we build this, we're going to look just to see what kind of alerts came through it today. And then I'll go ahead and share the cloud link with this too for you folks. So you take and have a template of this scan here, do as you please with it and leave it as you like, or, go and adjust anything, the price or volume, anything like that. Come back to the search. We're going to stay on volume for a second. So, a lot of scans are built around volume, but it's important to understand how these volumes work. So at the moment, we've got this alert with volume in it telling us we need over the last minute to be doing 2 times historical base value of 1 minute volume. All right. And then we have this here saying on top of that, we have to trade at least 175,000 shares today. But, we also want to see stocks that are kind of cruising along too. We don't want to see stuff that's sleepy, right? Not for the purpose of what we're building here anyways. There are times where people want to see sleepy stocks, and that's more than fine. We can do another exercise like that in the future. But for this, we want to see stocks that may be cruising along a little better than, the term sleepy. And that's where relative volume comes in. All right. And again, for those who aren't familiar, relative volume is going to be a ratio. So I'm going to select that here. I'm going to add the filter, and we can see it here. Relative volume, again, it uses a 10-day basic historical line. So if we put, and it's a ratio, again, 1 being normal, 10 would be 10 times normal, 5 would be 5 times normal, so on and so forth. So by sticking something like a 2 in here, we're now telling this scan, I want to see stocks that are doing 2 times their normal volume over the last 10 days, at least to this point in the day. Relative volume can move up or down during the day. If a stock starts trading more, that relative volume will increase, obviously. If it's trading more than normal as the day goes on, if the stock's volume slows down, that relative volume will take a step back. All right. But we want to say at the time of the alert, we want to see that we're trading at least 2x what we've normally been doing. And then that's coupled with this 175,000 filter here. So we're really trying to kind of cut out noisy stocks. There is no magic alert window that's going to alert, 90% winners, at least not that I've come across. But the idea is trying to find quality setups for us. And then from there, using our tools like a price alert and our, liked list or other symbols list that we may want to monitor these alerts from. All right. So we've got some basis here. We've got that relative volume. We've got this here. We've got the alert. All right. What's something else that we can look at? Let's get rid of that. And let's kind of peruse through our list of filters here, some stuff that we might want to see. Just taking a look here, dollar volume, let's skip that. I don't think we need these other volume metrics in here with the relative volume and the 1 minute volume spike. I think we're all set there. We don't want to be limited by range, I don't think. I think range is good when you're trying to define a trading range. We don't necessarily need a trading range. We want to see stuff that's, maybe going to make a semi-explosive move up. So range will, inhibit us in that. Again, position and range. What we're not on the position and range. I thought that was going to be next. Consecutive candles. That could be something interesting. Maybe we throw a consecutive candle filter in here. Let's add that filter, right? And important, again, read these definitions. I just want to bring the consecutive candle filter definitions over here, all right? And so these filters are looking at standard intraday candlestick chart to see if the price has been moving up recently, and if so, for how long. These filters are available for 1, 2, 5, 10, 15, and 30 minutes. These filters are similar to up days, but the definition is slightly different. For an intraday chart, candle is called an up candle if the high of the candle is higher than the high of the previous candle, and the low of the candle is higher than the previous low. So, I think that's something very important. That's why I happen to bring this up, because I happen to know that because I've gone over this alert enough, and I've come across a lot of troubleshooting where someone said, I don't understand. Why is this not meeting my scans criteria? And these little nuances of the definitions of the filters equal big things in the scanning. So remember, when we're looking at consecutive up candles, high's got to be higher than the previous, and the low's got to be higher than the previous low as well. All right. So I think that covers us that base there. And let's go, 2 consecutive 1 minute candles and see how that looks, see how that works. And again, I'm kind of just doing this as an exercise. My goal here is that, I show you some of the basics, ins and outs. And so you can navigate the software, confidently on your own. And then, of course, you can always come to us through the email or live chat. pop back in for the other live webinars that we're doing, every day and all week long, as you get into more complicated things and different combinations and other questions. But my idea behind all this is to get you folks really being able to be confident on your own, to start really drilling down into all that we offer for these different filters and alerts and how to use them. So, all right, with that, circling back in here. And again, if someone has a question, feel free to interrupt. Like I said, I'm just kind of, taking this one step at a time. Like I said, there's supposed to be 55 of you here and there's 6 of you here. So, whenever I have a syllabus, it kind of changes it up a little bit by how many people are here. All right, with that said, we'll come back and we're looking at consecutive candles. Is there anything else we want to add here? I don't think we need the change. We're looking at volume. I don't think we need the price change with the volume, because maybe the volume comes in and then the price change is going to come later that we want to be able to participate in on the upside for the scan. We'll stay away from the indexes. Maybe we want to, let's throw a VWAP in here for fun, just to see what happens. So VWAP 1 is going to be your traditional intraday VWAP. VWAP 2 would be anchored 2 days back, 3 days back, 4 and 5, so on and so forth. All right, for those that aren't familiar with anchored VWAPs. I'm going to leave the change from close, because what if something moved down and now it's moving, gap down and it's moving back up. We want to catch that move back up, gap down reversals. We're not really in the market for gap down reversals, but we're gonna press forward like it's possible anyways. Post market's not going to matter. We're looking at regular day scan. We're not concerned with these changes here. Standard deviation. All right, I think we're looking good here for the most part. Sorry, just something with my mic here. Works. All right, that should be working now. You folks can still hear me over in Zoom, correct? Yes. Just let me know in the questions panel if you can hear me, please. I have a noise canceling thing, and it wasn't working. I had to switch something. All right, I think, we've got the base of a scan right now. I want to go with what we have right now and see what it returned us today. All right, perfect. Thank you, Shane. Appreciate it. Thank you, Jeff. All right, so we're calling, let's call this 1 minute volume spike alert. All right, and let's just see what the base of this is and let's see what it's given us today. All right. So right click and we'll run the history today, and we're going to just press for today on the history and see what rolled in here. Looks like a lot of alerts came through this. And now we see how it says more available here. Whenever we're running the history of scans, it can only load, each window can only load 1,000 entries in it. So if we wanted to go back further, we'd come in here to history again, and we can click more because it says more available. And so if we go ahead and click more, if you notice here, it stopped at 2:50 and 39 seconds. And watch what happens when we click more. And now we start at 2:50 and 38 seconds because there was alerts at that time, and continue to push back throughout the day. So we might want to refine the scan a little bit more. I want to keep going back though, because I want to see, I want to see earlier alerts. I personally like to stay away from trying to trade that 15, 20, sometimes even 30 minutes. Find myself getting in trouble when I'm doing that. On occasion, I break my rules. There's got to be a clear, concise reason for me to do that. So yeah, I want to get back. This looks good. All right. Let's just check out some of the stuff that came through here. So quadruple C at $8. All right, that's not bad. And we talked about, we didn't want to eliminate stocks that were down for the day, because this made a nice reversal here, and that was actually ends up being a decent alert here coming in at 10:02. So again, reinforcing, even not trading that half an hour, I mean, that's a solid alert that came through here, right? $8. We were never in trouble off that alert. Now, I don't know that every alert's going to look like that. All right. For all I know, the next 30 alerts that we look at are terrible, but it never hurts when you start looking nice. And let's see, so that's basically $18. I made a quick little pop, but that was it. And again, I guess we know what we're looking at here. The stock gap down. Try to do some recovering here. Couldn't get a whole lot into it. But many trading styles. Someone that just wants a quick scalp on something like this, or is only looking for a few pennies. They might be happy with 10 cents on this alert, 15 cents on this alert. Other people maybe not. But anyways, we take the data, we digest it, and how relevant it is or isn't to us here. So 25.31, not really much doing there. 29.59, not a whole lot doing there. Not terrible. Never really put you in pain. This is 29.44, so got the alert somewhere in here, and gave you 15 cents again, give or take. Not much there. That's going to be the same alert. 12.80. And nope, caught the top of that. So we're seeing a mixed bag here. Some really flat stuff. One good one, a few ant ones, not terrible, but not great. All right, so 14.14. Again, giving us about 15 cents there. And let's see, 99. Made it almost a buck. So 99.20 actually, 99. So the alert came in here. So a little bit of alpha on that, but that wasn't a great alert. That'd put you in a lot of pain if you didn't exit it quickly enough. Not a great restored. That looks all right. 13.06. 20 cents or so off that move. So, all right, I'm seeing some stuff that's okay in here. And, let's keep in mind we're looking at, not exactly an all-star day from the indexes. In fact, I didn't even realize the index fell apart that much below 440. And unfortunately, it's kind of the results of what we're seeing on some of these alerts, I think. Let's bring back that alert window. Where did you go? I'm just wondering if there's a way, something we can add or refine here. Those consecutive candles. Oops, there we go. Just wonder if we threw in another one of those, if it eliminated some of those other alerts or not. What I'm trying to do here, and one day it's hard to take data from one day, especially in the market that we're in right now, but trying to just find it, a balance of quality alerts to not quite as quality alerts is what I'm really trying to do here right now. Oops. Far back is that going to go? So just by doing that, now if you remember, by adding that one more 1 minute candle to it, before we only made it back to like 2:39, I think, on the time, and this one we made it all the way back a couple of more hours, as a matter of fact, on the history here. We'll click more, and that's probably going to bring us pretty close to the beginning of the day. Yeah, not too bad. All right. And again, you're seeing a lot of these charts mimic the indexes today. So nothing trading really alpha on its own. Not too much anyways. And this thing has no range on it. This is one of those weird stocks. And this is what I mean by that. Look how far this has fallen. And you'd think that'd be a big price change, right? But no, you're at $32 here and $29 there, over a few months. It's not exactly much of a range there. Let's see, let's scroll up here. Unfortunately, I don't know how much alpha we're going to find on a lot of these, because we're really looking at, a lot of stocks that are just, getting pummeled with the averages right now. Some GL, so we're at this 15.29. Caught it at the top here, this sort of puts you in a bit of pain, but ends up being an okay alert at the end. I don't know if that alerted earlier or not. SMGL. Nope, not seeing it there earlier. Sony. So a lot of the same, just really following the indexes. So how do we get away from the indexes here? Oops. Excuse me, just had to, you had a cough come on me. GoPro. Yeah, 880. No, nothing. So let's try something different. We're going to work this alert a little bit here. And again, if you sort your alert by company, you can't sort. The only thing you can do is this. If we go to columns, we could go with, sector, subsector, industry, industry group, some sub-industry and company name. We can add any of those columns, but we can't sort alert windows because alerts come in as a timestamp and that's it. If it was a top list, I don't even know if we can sort by company, actually. I don't think we can. We can just display it, not sort by it. It needs data to sort by. All right, so what I wanted to do here is maybe up this relative volume a bit. Bring that candle count back down a bit. I'm trying to find stocks that have high volume. And maybe they're up from the open too. So now it doesn't matter if it gaps down, but we just want to see that it's holding strong from the open. Now let's see what we've got here. Coming way back now. And then I have another exercise that popped into my head that I think will be very beneficial to everybody in here. Twofold. Interesting. Marvell. So uranium was a high flyer early in the day. It's alerted at $10. This is right on the open. I mean, you don't want to trade the open. But didn't make a move technically off of that. Never put you in pain. But let's get up, scroll up a bit. So SHY. Okay, so that's not too shabby here. Actually, that's terrible. Again, that's another stock that's doing the same thing as we found before. No range on it. 1330, 1342. I'm catching the top here. So I'm not finding a lot of great stuff, unfortunately, on this here. Nail, that's going to be, I believe, the inverse of home builders. ECI, bad earnings, I guess. Huts, 42. A very lackluster alert window. WI. And a lot of these just not a big move out of any of this. You're out. You're out. Green Plains, 3147. 3047. So that's not a bad alert out of there. That was pretty decent. AT&T, this was coming in even earlier. 1972. I'm not sure what the earlier alert was on that. All right, nothing really awesome coming through this, unfortunately. One or two, that's it. RPTX. That ends up all right. Never really put you in any pain, never broke down below 11 off that 1120 alerts. I mean, there's a few scattered ones in here. Checking out, we want to check the columns here. So, all right. The idea was that, going through an exercise of building an alert window. I think what I want to do now is, this isn't it's an all-star alert window, unfortunately. So I don't think there's anything special here to share. But what I want to do is this. And get you folks familiar with two things here. Stocks like this page. Let's see, tab to the right. And then a stocks like this scan, all right? And this is gonna be a way to back engineer some stuff here. So let's go. So if you're on our home page here, okay, we come to support. And we go to traders area. And go to stocks like this. We have this page where you can enter a symbol and you need at least, if data's delayed 15 minutes in here, it doesn't go back as far as our scanning history, but it does go back a couple of days. And so you could say, oh, this stock made this great move. I want to see the stats of that stock at a certain time. And so, for example, if we just were to use Apple as an example here. So if we did Apple today, Tuesday, let's put it at, let's go 10:30 Eastern time. And so this is going to show me all the filters and alerts that Apple met from 10:30 to 10:35 Eastern time. So I go ahead and hit submit. So this is every alert that Apple hit. All right. And here was all of its stats throughout that 5 minutes. It had a minimum of a 5-minute volume, 80% and 107. We can see all these different items here, what its volatility rating was. It's a couple of minute range here, all these things like that. So we can back engineer a scan like this. We can take this a step further, all right? And Barry has actually created a scan that does this. Now his scan, and I'm going to share this out, happens to have stocks like this template, happens to have the columns that he wants into it. What Barry did here was he took an alert window. If you right click, you come to configure, all right? If we go to the window specific filters, you can see none of the filters in here have a value in them actually. They're all listed as columns here, okay? And then he took and just put a new high alert. And we could add any alert that we really want or any sets of alerts. And you can focus this using the symbols list. See this drop down menu, we can look at all symbols, only a following list, we can exclude a list, or we can look at a single symbol, okay? And so if we were to look at, for example, what was a high flyer today? Let me see here. There's one they did a financing today. LIXT. Now, by putting that in here, all right, we can come through and see every stat that it hit and back engineer a scan based on a time. So we went to history and we went to today. We're going to see every time it made a new high on the day, all right? And we're going to see all these different stats, and we can change this up here as a matter of fact. So let me share this out with you folks. If there's anybody in YouTube, I cannot currently post in YouTube. For some reason, YouTube is blocking me over there. So I know I'm streaming over there. Anybody in YouTube that was looking for this template, send an email to info@trade-ideas.com. STOCKS. All right, so I'm gonna share this for the Zoom side. So there's that. And you can adjust this any way you want. Now, in this scan, Barry chose this set of columns to look at, all right? But you can change that to anything you want. You may not care about 2-minute RSI. You may not care about call volume today. You may not care about the options volume today of it, all right? There may be other things that you want to be building a scan off of. But if we look at this here, we can now see every time this alerted and making a new high, all right? And so we go ahead and click on this. You know, someone that wanted to play something off the open like this, all right? That may be what they want to do, is look at something like this for this new high, all right? We could take it and I want to do this here. File, load from cloud. I want to find a stock that's, you know, kind of kept going on the day today. So here we go, ATER, all right? So we could take this stock here and we could do the same thing. We're going to back engineer a scan here like this. So we're going to right click, come to configure, symbols list, ATER, all right? We're going to click OK. And, you know, let's add some other alerts in here to see what other alerts might have happened on this. Let's throw a 1-minute volume spike in there and let's go with a crossed above resistance. This one right here. It's the one that I happen to like. Oops. Add alert. So now in this scan, we're looking at all these things that happen with this stock here, all right? As far as columns go. And then we're going to see these alerts in it that are coming up here, all right? I press OK, and I go to history, and I go to today. Now I'm going to see every time this got alerted with a 1-minute volume spike, a new high on the day, and if it crossed above resistance, what the algorithm was considering resistance at that time, all right? And let's expand this all out, get us nice and big so we can see all these data sets that we're working with. There we go. And let's see here. Let's I get the spinning wheel of death. There we go. And so we were trying to catch this, let's see, sometime around that 3:30 range, all right? So let's scroll back to here at 3:30 and let's see. So we're starting to get 1-minute volume spikes actually quite a bit earlier, all right? We can see 1-minute volume spikes here. And let's see, what was the 1-minute volume at that time? I bet Barry's got that in here somewhere. Change 1-minute options, position. What do you know? He doesn't have 1-minute volume in here. Oh, there it is, 1-minute volume percent. So we could see the 1-minute volume percent was still kind of low here. So when does the 1-minute volume really start picking up here? Doesn't really start picking up almost at all till we start to really take off here on this candle. All right, so we start to see some items that we can back build with here. All right, we don't make a new high on the day till here, actually. Let's see, so we catch that here about 460. And that thing has really took off into the day and taken off into the after hours here, as a matter of fact. Let's see, we had a 2-minute RSI that was humming along here. And changing a few of these items in here, get rid of some data that I don't think is necessary right now. What I've done is I've added our quality column here so I can see what that 1 minute ratio was actually at that time on the 1 minute volume spike here. And we can see how that was really picking up those numbers. And so here we go down here into the 30s, all right, shortly before that move fully happens here. And we can see where that 1 minute volume spike was down here, all right? And so we can see it coming alive and then dying down. Look at that 4.58, but then it moves back down, moves up, moves up, moves back down, moves up, moves up, moves up, moves up, moves back down, all right? And so this is how we can get a data snap of what was going on with the stock and back engineer a scan. So if you have a stock that you saw and you said, geez, how do I catch a stock that made a move like this? This is exactly how you'll be able to do that, all right? By taking a scan like this. And again, if we right click in here and we come into the configure, we come to search, we can add any one of these filters as a column that we want for back building the scan and checking that data here. And we can remove any columns that already exist. So I've shared out the basis of the template that Barry had originally created. You can go through and make it your own. Maybe there, you don't care about put call ratio, or you don't care about the options volume in general, or any of those items like that. You can remove those columns and add columns that are going to be more relevant to what you're trying to build in that scan, okay? And, and just to take it, a step further, as we're looking at this here, got our volume percent today. That's a great filter to have. It's very similar to relative volume, but it's working on a percent basis instead of a ratio. And so essentially what this column is saying is, to this point in the day, when this alert went off, it's done 77.1% of its normal volume, meaning it's still under its normal average 10-day volume right now. And what we can see here on this daily chart is we've got these volume days where it's actually picked up, but look at all these volume days behind it that are absolutely flat right now, all right? So that's weighing down on that average versus the relative volume. Where are you, relative volume? Here we go. All right, the relative volume is saying at that point, it's saying we're at 2.4% of what we've normally been doing over the last 10 days. If the volume continues to pick up, that number is going to keep going up. If the volume slows down, that number will come down, all right? And so if we scroll up, and let's stay focused on that column here. Let's circle that column there, all right? As we scroll up, we're going to notice more volume was pouring in, all right? And we can see that evident here in these candles coming through here. And we can see that relative volume beginning to move up on us here, all right? We start to see it really jump here as we're scrolling up here. And again, this is the way, if you have specific stocks that you're looking to find a setup for, whether it's, it did something on a chart, it had a volume spike, had an RSI move, perhaps had a position in a Bollinger Band that you wanted to look at, all right? And, we don't have that up here, but let's move some stuff around here, all right? We come to columns, I'm going to drop a few columns here. And if you ask why I'm dropping these columns, I just don't think that they're prudent to what we're doing right now. And I want to add some different columns to show a different flavor here. So Bollinger, all right, maybe you want to see a position in a 15-minute Bollinger Band, all right? You can show that column, all right? And now, when I press OK, there it is over here. So there's our position in that 15-minute Bollinger Band. We can add that to our scan. Not sure why it would do that to me. Edit Bollinger Band. Chart area 1 main. Save. Well then, making a fool of me on live TV. Why can I not get the Bollinger Bands to come in here? Well, this is unpleasant. Well, that's not fun. Add that there. I can't add it on a 15-minute chart. I know what I did wrong. Silly Chris. Bollinger Band width. Let's just add Bollinger Bands. Very foolish. There we go. All right, so Bollinger Bands, a lot of people believe that they're a revision to the mean type of thing. Actually, a 20 SMA is what they're built off of. It's a 2 standard deviations above and below 20 SMA. John Bollinger, who created them, actually created them to say when it breaks the upper band as a buy signal, when it breaks the lower band as a sell signal. And so we see here quite a while ago, we get a break of that 15-minute band, all right? And it moved up, pulled back, and then really moved up on us. So if that's, a way that you're looking to scan, all right, that's something that you could do right there, looking at that 15-minute Bollinger Band, all right, and where the position is in it, and how we could back engineer if we were looking at Bollinger Bands for the scan. So I'm just trying to show you ideas of how you can build scans, back engineer them, by creating essentially an empty alert window with just only certain selected alerts that you might be interested in, and the filters that you might be interested in as well. How do you build a post-market alert scan? Sure, let's build that right now together. So we can go File, or excuse me, we go New, Alert Window. All right, and let's go search and let's type post-market. Do something that's probably going to be loaded. Yep. All right. Search post-market. All right, and so let's look for things that are making new post-market highs. All right, so let's get that in here. Get rid of the rest. So now we got to be making a new post-market high. All right, and let's see, maybe post-market volume and shares. Let's make sure we've got something that's actually moving in the post-market. Let's add that filter. All right, and let's say stuff that's traded at least 500 shares in the post-market. All right. I'm not going to put a price range on it for now because I just want to see what's coming through it. And in fact, it probably won't really add anything else to it because the post-market's a different animal. So we don't want to, whenever you're building a post-market or pre-market scan, you don't want to have too many filters in it because you don't want to, cut anything out that might just be starting in the post-market that didn't trade at all during the, during the regular market. All right. So I'm just going to start with those two real quick to see what comes through. Post-market alerts. All right, and so we've got these that are coming through. Let's go with history. Let's go with today, and let's just see what came through here in the post-market so far. And probably be good if we put some post-market data on the charts, right? Get rid of some of these indicators now. All right, so ADMA, made this move up, nothing afterwards. All right, that happened, nothing. Rocket Mortgage. And a whole lot of nothing. And a whole lot of nothing. And same thing here. So, we're finding all these are all stocks that made post-market highs, traded at least 500 shares in the post-market, but haven't done anything since. So it's alerted at 519, so it alerted up here. And so far, we're not really coming across a very active post-market because we didn't put a whole lot of filters in this, right? So this is really going to show us, anything that's traded in the post-market, made a high in the post-market, and had at least 500 shares. And again, not seeing a whole lot here. So this came 39.66. And so that alert came in up here somewhere, right at the top, got rejected right off there. So we can see there's been no big post-market movers, and we don't have a price filter on this or anything. Literally nothing so far. And we can really see here, just not an active post-market anywhere right now. Every one of these caught a new high, and that was the end of it. That was the last new high that it made, essentially, in the post-market. A lot of inverse ETFs in here. So let's see, 94.76. So, all right, this might be something, but, not a whole lot of volume going on it right now. So it came in at 94.76, has made a little bit of a move up since. So Match Group, Harmony Mining. So same thing, made a post-market high and stuck right there. More of the same. And we're seeing everything that's been active with at least 500 shares traded in the post-market, because even if it's post-market, while it doesn't have the same liquidity, we have to make sure, there's some kind of liquidity in the post-market. Yeah, absolutely. I'll share this with you. And then I'm going to show you a different way to do this too with the top list. So here we go. Save or share to cloud, save. And, if there's other filters you want to add into this, any way that you want to change this, obviously, by all means, take it, make it your own. But, another way to do this here, and sorry, I just want to scroll up a few more, see if anything has moved in the post-market at all. A little bit of a move here on this. We caught this at 1028. It's at 1042 now. You know what? Hold on. I'm going to redo something in this and then give you another link to it. So I want to columns. Where's post-market shares? I want to put that column in for you, because it'd be nice to know how many post-market shares something is traded. So, this came in at 1205. This is actually, now we're finding some stuff that might have some legs in it here in the post-market. All right. We can see, something that's traded 100,000 shares in the post-market might be worth watching. So I'm going to give you a second one here. All right. And just make sure you save it to the cloud, please, because I do go through and delete anything I don't use. I don't do any post-market trading. So here, I think this is a better one, because you're going to have that post-market shares column that's in there. And, I think having that column is prudent and relevant to what we're doing here. A second way we could do this with the top list. All right. And it becomes even more simple, because we're going to use the sort function for post-market shares, essentially. All right. So 1 second here. We type post-market. All right. And maybe we don't even necessarily just need the shares, but let's sort on post-market and what's up the most in the post-market on a percent wise. All right. So we've clicked this here in the search. So we're in the search tab. We've clicked this here. Now let's go sort by. So now we're telling the scan, I want you to put the stocks that have moved the most in the post-market at the top for me here. Right. Then we can start to build the rest of the scan. We want to see some kind of post-market volume. So let's add that filter here now. And again, let's throw 500 shares. I'm just using it as an arbitrary number at the moment. You may want to see 40 shares. You may want to see 5,000 shares in the post-market. All right. And let's go to name here again. So up the most in the post-market. All right. Let's see, is there anything else we want to add in here? Put a $1 price range on this here, minimum. And again, because we're in the post market, I don't think we want to overdo it on the filters. We can just start here as a base, see what it returns to us, and then move forward from there. So now if I press OK, all right, this is going to find stocks that are at least $1, traded at least 500 shares in the post market. And we're going to put the ones that are the biggest change in the post market at the top of the list. All right. And, sorry, I want to add some columns here. I forgot to do that again. So columns, let's go with change post market, and let's also go with shares post market. All right. I don't think change from the close is going to be relevant to us here. Let's get rid of that. Change from the open is relevant on a post market scan. So there, we've got it reworked. And we're going to configure the color so it all matches nice and evenly. Select colors, post-market. Let's go post-market change percent. And now we can see it's a nice even gradient here. All right. And that's what we're sorting on. So our server sort is bringing us the top stocks with the biggest change in the post-market. And then the color sort is color sorting them by that too here. And then the display sort is also sorting. Display sort is when you double click these columns here. So if I double click, you'll see how it'll flip. Now it's the least on top. Here's the most on top. All right. Or if I did it by relative volume like that, but then you see the colors don't match evenly because we're color coded based on change from post market. So top list sort in 3 different ways. If we weren't familiar with that, I think it's a good exercise to know. That's the 3 different ways. We have the server sort that's in here, right click, configure. There's our server sort. That's bringing in the ones with the biggest change for post market. Then we have the display sort. That's the double clicking of the column here. And then the color sort. All right. And that was right click, properties, and select colors here. All right. And so now we can look at some of these here and we can see, some of these may have traded a bunch or they may have moved a bunch in the post market, but it was just one big lot that maybe was traded, 1,400 shares were traded in the post market here, and that moved at 15%. But, when you're talking about a $2 stock, it doesn't take a lot to move something 15% as far as price wise. Let's go through a few of these here and just take a look at what we see. So it's one tick. It must have been 3,000 shares, that one tick. All right. Same idea here and here and here. Well, no, that wouldn't be one tick because we can see there's one big post market bar here and then one more tick that happened up here. All right. There we go. All right. And just click through a few more of these for fun just to see here, 24,000 shares traded there. Again, same thing. Big bar came in and then one last tick up there. Let's see, 400,000 shares were traded here. So we can see, this is what we were watching before, wasn't it? No, this is a different stock than what we saw before. We can see this, big shadow coming down or big shadow moving up. All right. So definitely some action that happened there. If we look on the single stock window, we can see most of that action is kind of dried up at the moment here. We're not looking at a whole lot going on all of a sudden in the last few minutes. And, another way we could do this too is we could say, well, show me the ones that are trading the most shares. So we come to configure. we go to sort, we can say, well, let's sort by the most post-market shares now, all right? And we're going to color grade that. There's our post-market shares. All right. And so we can see ATERs traded the most post-market shares, and look at this thing is still going. All right. So we may want to see it like this. And what's the most active, not necessarily what's moved the most in the post-market. All right. And we'll decide if it's going to move more on our own based on how active it is right now. And so we can see some of these, very active in the post-market. As far as these shares go here. So I'm going to go ahead and share this out as well for you folks. Post that in there for you. All right. And so, this is where I think top lists become very powerful, but people, don't go into all the functions of the scans that we have, top list being one of them, specifically, in the sense that, this made this great move here, or these have made some great post-market moves here, and we didn't need to use a lot of scanning ability to find these shares. And had we been watching this, we're at 432 now, had we been watching this at 405, we might have seen some of these coming in a lot earlier, obviously. As we click through these, there's not a ton, going on some of these charts. I think it's some of them with some big lots for settlements towards the end of the trading session here. And I just want to show post-market on the 5-minute chart as well to illustrate that as well, to show us more post-market bars. There's Kroger Company. This thing is kind of wobbling all over the place, but while it's traded a ton in the post-market, I suspect a lot of those were settlement shares, on market close that finished, finished the settlement after the market close. Excuse me, trying to find the words that I was looking for. Palantir, same thing here. And, from what I'm looking at, doesn't look like there's a whole lot going on in the post-market right now, which I'm honestly not surprised. Given the environment that we're currently in. So I believe most of you, there's a few new names that I see in here on the Zoom side. I believe most of you have been here before. Generally what I wanted to do is, kind of a syllabus in these Zoom meetings, but it hasn't panned out exactly as I wanted, as it's very few people showing up. And, I know everybody's going to be at different levels. Some of you, like I said, I've recognized from a few of these, and I don't want to do too much review on any of these because I want to get everybody, always moving forward instead of just starting as if someone's brand new. So for any of you that are, going to try to regularly attend these on Tuesdays and Thursdays, this specific Zoom meeting here, come with some questions for me and we'll do it more open forum. I want to make sure, you're getting questions answered that you have, and me not just kind of directing you on the software. I think it's a symbiotic relationship that some direction is obviously warranted. But obviously everybody's looking for something a little different with the software. And so I want to be able to assist each one of you, if you have an individual questions. When there's only 6 people, there's only 6 people here in the Zoom right now. So when there's 6 of you, we can do it a lot more one-on-one kind of individual specific things that are coming to mind that you want answered. And so, moving forward, if you folks join and you see that we're this light on attendees, please jump out and ask some specific questions, just like, AK did here on these post-market scans, whatever you want. And I'll readjust. If all of a sudden, we've got 35, 40, 50 people, obviously taking individual questions from that many people over an hour can get me behind. I won't be able to circle to everybody. But for the time being, it seems like this is the number of people that are going to be showing up, unfortunately, or fortunately for you, I'm going to say, unfortunate for themselves, I suppose. And that's how we'll conduct this here. The other thing is, please make sure, this is kind of my walkout on the day here. So I want to find a web page that I wanted. Please make sure that you're utilizing all of our education products here, right? Everything on this page, with the exception of paid one-on-ones, is free. And I mean, I think we offer enough live that you don't really need paid one-on-ones, and our paid one-on-ones aren't outside market time anyways. So a lot of the one-on-ones that you could book are during the times when we're doing our different live Q&As during the week anyways. So, by all means, if a one-on-one is what you want, you can scroll down and you'll find a link to request it. And then, that comes in and then we kind of vet it from there. You can find that on the education link here, though, if that's something you really want. But, look, this getting started here is what we're doing right now. This is every Tuesday and Thursdays. Come ask your questions here on Zoom. All right, perfect, Jeffrey. So you're a different Jeffrey than the last time I had. There's another Jeffrey here, the last Zoom one that I did. So, but this getting started here is exactly what we're in now. Come with your questions. I'll even, next, if we're under 10, if we're 10 or under attendees on Thursday, I'll open up people's microphones because I feel like 10 people is in a Zoom meeting. We can do that. I know some people want to talk, some people won't. They'll want to handle things in the chat panel. I'm, 10 and under, I'm comfortable whatever way we want to go. What I'm really trying to illustrate is here all that we offer. So this is that getting started webinar here. That's Tuesdays and Thursdays. Also, where you see this daily live session, remember, we're on the education panel here, all right, for our website. These daily support sessions, all right, at noon Eastern every single day, Monday through Friday. We're doing an hour there like that, okay? Come join us there, open free forum. Now, instead of being Monday through Friday, 3:30, Tuesday and Thursday now this Zoom one here, but Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays on the YouTube side of things. And by clicking this here, you'll join me on YouTube. And it's exactly kind of what we just did here today, but more free form. And to be honest, even in those, people aren't jumping and asking a lot of questions. It's me kind of going over things and thoughts that I had on the market or going over charts. I don't build scans as much in that unless someone asks me to build something out with them, just like we did here, but I'm happy to build templates out with you folks. I'm all about community. Sometimes I learn things from your questions, let alone you learning from asking the questions. There's the traders room here with Barry. All right. It's a great traders room. I am a completely self-taught trader. Almost everything I learned about trading in my first few years anyways, before I started, going into my CMT designation, some things like that, I learned here in this room. I was patient. I asked questions. Generally, everybody's pretty nice in that room. Just, keep things, if it's, if you're not talking about your entries of a stock or a stock you're looking at that you're interested, there's an off-topic tab. Keep things in that off-topic tab. There's tabs for specific reasons in there, but it's a great place. Barry will tell you he can't teach you how to trade. What he's not going to do is tell you, oh, buy this stock based on that, or you should short it based on that, or anything like that. But if you listen to Barry and him explain charts and what he's seeing in a chart, on top of that, he's sharing all of his scans in there, Barry. There's a lot of knowledge to be had in that trading room. All right. Down here, we have bi-weekly daily webinars. What I mean by bi-weekly is, so for example, this week is Monday and Wednesday for the webinar. Next week will be Tuesday and Thursday. And then it'll go back to that Monday and Wednesday, and then back to the Tuesday, Thursday, and so on and so forth. These webinars are another great place where I learned a lot. All right. And so I know everybody has different schedules. Not everybody can make everything. But, we've got a noon Eastern session. We've got a 3:30 Eastern session. And then we have these 2 p.m. Pacific, which is 5 p.m. Eastern webinars. So there's something going on nearly every day or several times a week at different time zones for people to get in there. These become a little more structured. All right. But going over a lot of what I just went over, there, guys in there are always building scans, talking about scans they built, sharing those scans out, some market thoughts. Usually they take a few chart requests at the end of a webinar. So if you got a chart you're really hankering to know something about, get into these webinars. Every one of these is recorded here. All right. So you can join every single one of those. All right. And get in there live. And if not, on our YouTube page, for some reason, my YouTube is not working. I don't know what is going on here. Sorry, I'm trying to get this YouTube page working. All right. And get this part of it. If you're on our YouTube page, here it is here. All right. First thing, selfless plug. Please like and subscribe everything on our page, or subscribe to the page and like everything there, please. But here, if we go to videos, you're going to find in chronological order everything that's been done. So you've got, this is happening live right here. This was Barry in the Traders Room earlier today. Traders Room. Barry does some stuff with charts. These are great videos if you're learning to read charts. Barry does is what makes this chart great, or what makes this trade great, or what makes this stock great. So if you're really still trying to hone in your chart skills, there's a lot there for you. All right. You go through all these, you go back through all these past webinars if you want. All right. So it's all exists there for you. Come, please subscribe and please like. We really, really would appreciate that. Continuing through the education page here. Some more education videos for you to hit here. And then this Back to Basics series. If you're someone who's just starting out their trading journey, Michael Noss literally starts with educating his wife on what is a stock. It's literally where this starts. All right. And he goes all the way up to, back testing and artificial intelligence trading and stuff like that. It's a really great series. You could do it at your own leisure, fast forward, rewind, whatever you want. But there's a lot in here. I learned a lot from this, even after, I had made my way into working with trade ideas. There's stuff that, I go through his videos and I learned quite a bit on my own. All right. There's some different ebooks that we offer in here too. You may or may not find them interesting. I don't know, but some solid ebooks in here for you to definitely check out. Never stop learning is the biggest thing, especially in these markets. And then last but not least, I go over it again. If you're really, really hell-bent on taking a one-on-one, we're $129 an hour. We do not teach how to trade. That's not saying we won't go over charts with you or anything like that, but we're here to do what I've essentially done in these Zoom meetings. All right. And I implore you to try to, really drain all these free resources first. And then if you're really, really, bent on having one of these one-on-ones, like I said, they're really supposed to be software focused. Fill this stuff out, send it in, and you're gonna get an email from someone that's gonna say, please check out all the free resources first, and then if you really want it, then we'll give you a link to sign up for the one-on-one. So, all right, folks, that's my 1, 2, 3 on the day today. Again, join me, especially Greg, Jeffrey. Join me tomorrow. 3:30 Eastern. I'm going to be on YouTube Live, right? I take over from Barry. Barry broadcasts from two sides. There's the Traders Room, of course, and then there's the YouTube side. Barry has both of those. He gives up control of both of those. Gives up control of the YouTube side twice a day to me on 3:30 hour, obviously, and one of the other gentlemen at the noon hour, all Eastern time. So please come join us. Ask your questions. Like I said, on Thursday, I want you folks to get the most out of all this. So if it's only a few of you that are dedicated enough to show up to these, if we've got a small group, I'm going to enable everybody's mic on Thursday, and we can spitball ideas back and forth. You don't want to be on the mic. Don't be afraid to use this chat panel here. All right. Here's the chat panel. Please don't be afraid to use this. All right. Especially when it's a smaller group. I want, we can treat it more like a group one-on-one when it's a small group like this. And everybody's got an agenda. My agenda is to keep you folks subscribed to Trade Ideas. It's also to get you to tell your friends and family about Trade Ideas. But it only works if you folks have success with the platform. So, I'm hell-bent on getting you folks as successful traders, successfully using the platform, and moving forward. And it's a very symbiotic relationship. We don't exist without you folks. It's just that simple. So again, I thank you all for showing up. Thank you for coming in. I do thank you for the interactions. I'll go ahead and stop the share now. And I guess that'll wrap us up for the day. So we'll catch you all tomorrow, I do hope. Thursday, we'll be back here for Zoom again, like I said. And I'll start to enable some mics if we've got a small crowd like we've got going on. And, Friday, I'll wrap out the week. We'll do a market recap in the live YouTube room again. So thanks again, folks. You all have a wonderful rest of Tuesday, wherever you are. Hopefully it's nice and sunny. You get outside for a walk, and